Good morning. It's 9:38 here in beautiful Tennessee. We got the sun up and shining. Temperature's feeling all right. It's probably going to get a little bit warm in the afternoon. Got a little incense burning. Got some sage going on, clearing any negative vibes or energy out there. And we're going to shoot this day off with shadow work. That's right. What is shadow work? Shadow work is the working within you of past traumas or circumstances, life experiences that didn't quite yield that comfort level, but rather dropped you down into a lower frequency, and which you attached subconsciously a label or an identifier with that experience and popped it into your file cabinet for it to later resurface for you to work through. So we are going to go into shadow working. Shadow working is a lot like shedding the layers of things that we have absorbed into us that served for a particular time format in which helped us feel a sense of security or survival in the moment. Okay, and we donned that persona or that identity to be able to go through that process. Well, now we are working through the work, and we have a higher mind, a higher conscious objective viewing, and we're going to try to help resolve some of those blocks that we are holding within us, holding within our physical body, holding within our emotional body, holding within our mental body, our energetic body. Remember, energy is inside us and around us. And yes, sometimes our spirit body or our astral body will take on some of those fragmented pieces of discomfort, and it will show up in physiological signs and mental signs, emotional signs, how we present ourselves, what we feel like wearing for that day, and a lot of times we might replicate the attitude and mindset of that identity. So let's jump into how do we deal with that. To my left, I have a notebook. It's called Embracing the Darkness. It's a shadow workbook. And one of the first things that tags into working with is your childhood. As far back as you can remember, in your childhood, you might have experienced things that were very unpleasurable. Maybe you were in a home that was a bit more hostile. Maybe you were in a friendship relationship at a young age and you weren't treated the courtesy or respect that you ought to have been treated with, and it stuck with you like an attachment. Remember, we attach things like molecules get attached. Okay? In this little workbook, I like to call it also the Shadow Journal, and you can find this resource online or a variation of shadow journals online to help you work through those things. When something comes to your awareness, remember to drop into calm and neutrality, because you're going to resurface experiences that you may remember and you may not have remembered. And we are going to love on ourselves, okay? Love who we are, love that we are here today, appreciate the experiences so that we may grow from them and discover our true potential and purpose within our lives and touching the lives of others. So how do we start doing the shedding of layers? How do we remove or express and release the experiences that really triggered us And we know that they triggered us because we had a response to them, but didn't have the words to articulate. And a lot of times it might have felt like insecurity, fear, doubt, maybe untrusting, maybe a sense of unworthiness. Remember, you are very, very worthful, okay? Your life has meaning. It always has, it always will. Your life has purpose. It always has, it will, always will. But I want to introduce the Hawaiian prayer. Hawaiian prayer is called Ho'oponopono. And in this, it gives you the capacity to send love, compassion, forgiveness, appreciation to a previous experience that you hold within your file cabinet. You can also do this with people that you had interacted with that you might have had less than favorable interactions with. You can do this with your thought field. You can do this with your emotional field. And yes, even the discomforting stuff that happens with your physiological form, you can send this to. Ho'oponopono is not limited to time, space, and distance. When you send it out, it goes where it needs to go. And then it gradually works through the circumstance or life experience that you have experienced. You can also send it into future events. Remember, everything is in the now. So as you are in the now, you can send it to future events of the things that you wish to experience in life. Assume the identity of that which you want to become and send the prayer out to that thing. So let's jump into it. The first line of the Ho'oponopono prayer is, I'm sorry. We're saying I'm sorry because the way that we received that input of information and programming, we did not have a higher mind to see through it clearly in an objective view. We are sorry for placing people in position to bring that out of us, and so that we would experience it, so that we can appreciate the opposite of that. Okay? Remember, we grow in both circumstances and pleasurable experiences. The next one is, please forgive me. You are forgiving yourself. You are forgiving those who interacted with you in a way that you felt was displeasurable. Okay? Remember, people are filling roles and characters to bring out the best version of yourself. In the moment, we may not feel it as that. We may feel it maybe as an attack or a judgment, maybe a biased opinion, maybe a limiting belief that we held onto that childhood experience or young adult experience and put it in our file cabinet, and now experiences from future events are coming into our now period because we have that file cabinet of those attachments. So you're forgiving yourself, you're forgiving those who are in position, and how you might have reacted to that, okay? This is not stuff that you have to say to the person to where they can hear you audibly or see you visually, all right? And you're helping yourself heal by using this, okay? The next one, which is the third line in the Ho'oponopono prayer, is thank you. Thank you for showing up in my life and showing me something that either I wanted to adopt or something I wanted to reject as being part of me. In that thank you, you are thanking yourself for showing up, and you are thanking the participating elements that showed up to present something to you, to give you a perception of maybe you want to grow like this, or maybe what you are seeing, you want to do the complete opposite. Next, you are saying, I love you. This is the fourth line in the Ho'oponopono prayer. I love you means you are saying, I love you to yourself and to any elements that came into your life to present what was in your life at that moment of time. You are loving whom they are within at their core essence, not the identity that they had donned at that moment to show an expression so that you can learn from it. Okay? Remember, the love that we shine out from our core essence has no conditions that have to be met to be given out. And you have an unlimited reserve of love, compassion, forgiveness, thankfulness, calm and stillness, and openness. Openness is a sense of vulnerability. It's in the vulnerability that we actually experience more growth. When we close ourselves off or we harden our hearts, we close our minds, and we stay in what we think we know, or we do a physiological sign where we create our own sense of security in the insecurity, those things need resolving. So it's going to come into your field of vision, in your thought mind, in your emotional field, and in your physiological field. We are not bringing these to remind you of what the feeling was and to relive it, but rather release it from you holding on to it. Okay? We are working on getting you healthier, and in this process, we release. Okay? Remember, experience, express, release. Okay? And this will go on for anything that comes in your pathway. Now, old ego is going to challenge you. But remember, we see things from a calm mind and a place of neutrality. We don't render judgment. We don't render biased opinion. And if we have a limiting belief of that thing, we're going to say thank you because it came to our awareness. And we're going to work through and resolve, express, and release. Okay? Have you ever heard the term energy flows where attention goes? So what you are focusing in on, or what you are zeroing in on, your attention is going to. And all of your energy is flowing to that thing. So if you are focusing on the negative aspect of an experience, your attention is going to send energy to that thing that is equal to that perception of thought field, perception of emotional field, and how your physiological body responds to that. But in that same capacity, we can send love, we can send healing, we can send comfort, we can send peace. We can calm the storm with our own power. The power that rests within us can be sent to that. Okay? So what you focus in on, and it comes to your awareness with a calm mind, you are bringing it into your awareness purposefully to resolve it. Some people will say when they're dealing with substance abuse, or they became addicted to a certain type of substance, maybe physical abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse, they end up zeroing in on the negative effect of it and live an effective life with that identity stored within them. And they may have the capacity to show the same example that was elicited to them. And so we have life tree, we have family branches, and we have outside family branches, which is the family that we choose to have. Okay? When we send that signature, we are actually sending signatures of our whole being and they're trying to help us work through our stuff, but we might feel it as in its attack because we are on defense mode rather than open vulnerability love mode. Okay, and this is what you're doing. You're sending love to yourself, and you're sending love to any of those that you may have caused grievances to, transgressions, or in the Bible they call it sinning. Sinning's not just against God or source or that which animates your life, but it's also what you do to a person with how you think about them, how you see them, how you render a statement about them, how you might feel about them. And this isn't to be confused with energy vampires and energy angels. This is people that we choose to judge on a biased opinion based on historical references. We aren't judging based on what is to come, because what is to come has not been yet written and yet experienced. So the ego has no say on what comes into your life. The ego works diligently on what has already occurred, trying to bring that into constant patternization. Okay? We are releasing some of those patterns. We are releasing some of those behaviors, characteristics and traits that do not serve us well, that actually may be causing us more harm than good, than at the time that we actually don those in our survivability mode. Okay, remember fight flight response? We are now working on the relax mode. We are relaxing so the stressors of experiences can be released in a loving, conducive manner. Don't forget to drink water. Okay, when you do releasing, you need to be drinking water, clean water, because as you release, you're releasing atoms, you're releasing energy molecules, you're releasing more than you even probably know that you're releasing, and you need to replenish good, clean drinking water. Okay, breathe in good and deep down to your diaphragm, hold it for about 3 seconds, and then release. Okay, promise you, this is going to be a technique that you will probably practice more fervently because it has no attachment to any religious connections or ideals. It's non-biased. It doesn't require you to meet a condition to use it, okay? So what are you focusing on? When you see an experience, or you see somebody doing something, or you come to a familiar place, you pick a familiar item, maybe a picture, maybe a knick-knack, or a pass-me-down. What are you zeroing in on? Are you zeroing in on the appreciativeness of it, or are you zeroing in on what attachments might have come with that? Now, the unique thing is, if you were to sign up as a donor and your life has lived its course, and in that capacity of which they receive your donor organs and pieces of whatnot to be distributed to others so that they may live a longer, healthier life in a certain capacity, the energy that you hold within you will go with those pieces, and they may experience the experiences that you have already experienced. That's how connected people are. We may not know that in our family history that someone has received that. So in this process of shadow working, we also do what's called karma cleansing. Karma cleansing is basically when someone in our line has done something unkind to someone else, and that energy gets passed down through us. We are now taking the approach to stop that cycle, grow from it, experience it, express it, and release it. Okay? And a lot of times we don't know that we have that. And in fact, this is never probably going to be taught in a school that is of traditional education. This will probably be taught in a school that is beyond the expectation of traditional education. I don't know. Maybe I might create a school university specifically on the techniques and capacities for helping you become educated in a higher mindset to become calm and in neutrality, and bring that experience that you most desire to live your best life to its fullest. What changes are you desiring today? Is something coming to your foreview, your forefront? Is something coming to your awareness, as I have spoken just now about childhood and trauma? The connection. Did a connection happen that came to your awareness in almost like an image recall? Maybe that's something that you might have to work through. Maybe that's something that's saying, hey, you're getting great information and content that's going to help you resolve what you had attached to that image of the snapshot that's in your file cabinet. Maybe it's a physical cleanse. Maybe your body is in a state that doctors can't give you a great remedy for certain things, but they keep giving you medication, or they keep signing you up for tests, they keep signing you up for this or that. In the medical community, it's called practice for a reason, because they work off the textbook knowledge and then they practice on you to find a resolution in a temporary capacity. Because if they had the capacity to make you completely well in just one visit, you'll never have to come back to them, which generates revenue through their machine, through testing their machine, staying in a hospital, feeding you, ER visits, primary care physician visits, nutritionist visits, etc., etc. Because they're also in the business of making money. I'm in the business of helping you make yourself well. And whether you see me one time and you become completely well, or you have to see me many times to work through more of your stuff, I'm okay with that. If you feel like you have gotten enough and you are where you want, or you have experienced the solving of that thing that has been most detriment to your health, and it's been resolved in a loving, conducive manner, and you don't need my support no more, awesome. I give you good greetings and farewell, hoping that you become completely well in your mind, in your emotion, in your physical self, in your spiritual astral self, in your energetic self. I do know that you will have more work to do, but appreciate the moments of release and regeneration. Okay? What about mental cleanse? What are you holding your thoughts of? When you see something, whether it's your physical eyes or you actually have access into the internal eye and see through the truth of the veil, or see through the veil and actually see the truth for more than what it is appearing in the illusionary state, what kind of thoughts are you rendering it? Are you having conducive, loving thoughts? Are you having judgment thoughts? Are you rendering a biased opinion about something? Maybe you are observing an experience and appreciating that which you are observing, because you actually became present and got to receive the light in the world. Remember, we don't always stay in the light. If we stay in the light, we don't grow, because growing happens in the darkness, happens in the dirt, okay? We are plants, we grow through the dirt. What about emotional cleanse? If I brought up a name and it resonated in your file cabinet, what is your emotional response to that? Maybe there's some work there to do. And this all ties into shadow working, okay? But shadow working is not the only modality or tool out there to help you go through, experience, and release that which is making you unwell, okay? It's just an additional resource in the arsenal of holistic remedy. Doesn't require any medication, doesn't require any supplements, doesn't require you to change your nutrition. It requires a change within your mindset, requires a change within your heart set, and it might require a change in your energetic output set, what you are sending out, okay? Physical, mental, emotional cleanse. You're going to feel a lot. You're going to experience the physical aspect of cleanse, which you might go to the bathroom more frequently. You might sweat a bit more frequently. This isn't to be alarmed. This isn't to be concerned. It's not to be timid or anxious about it. It's to recognize that your body is releasing after the methodology that you have used. Drink water. Remember to drink water. But let's talk about them karmic strands that may have been passed down through family genealogies. And I say genealogies because we have a genetic encoding that comes from our ancestral line. And we also have an energetic encoding that comes from those who are not in our genetic or ancestral or descendant lines. And we take those on, and if it's unresolved, it goes on to, yep, that's right, the new life that comes into our life. All right? And it doesn't have to just be a natural birth through you. It can actually be an adoption. It can be a surrogate. It could be, I don't like to use this word, but I'm going to use it because it's probably going to identify with some of you out there. If you are in the capacity of a stepfather or stepmother, you have now been given a gift of an additional branch in your tree of life. How you render in that tree of life, you can help them grow into a beautiful flower, or you can be the thorn of that rose, constantly pricking them every time that they make a mistake. Law of karma, also known as cause and effect. Now, when you go if you go through the universal laws, you'll see the universal law of cause and effect. But in the Indian culture, they actually use the word karma, and karma actually means action, what you have done. Okay, karma, it can be good and it can be bad based on what you have attached to it, how you have responded to something, how you have given out something, whether it's in your thought field, emotional field, whether it's with your physical body. Karmic strings is the energy and vibration that you have sent out into the world. And with karma, the cause and effect, what you send out, you will experience back to you. And if it hasn't been resolved, the lineage below you or the descendants below you will experience that on top of anything that was unresolved ancestrally. Okay? The Bible also mentions it, but in a different capacity. It's called you reap what you sow. So let's go back to those seeds that we are planting in people's lives. We can plant good nutrition. We can plant good seeds that receive good nutrition, and we can plant bad seeds that grow with bad nutrition and bad nurturing. And when I say bad, it's the negative connotation of it. When I say good, it's the positive charge of higher energetic frequency and level when you attach it to that. Kindness is powerful. Love breaks every bind that is tied to you that tries to bring you down. That's why we use the Ho'oponopono prayer. Okay? So what seeds have you been planting? I don't know how far you've gone through some of these videos, and I do apologize that some of the videos are lengthy. When information is flowing, I don't want to cut it off because I feel like there is something that will come out in that segment that is meant for myself and the assisting tool to help others to help themselves. Okay? But the seeds that we are planting, we nurture, and other people nurture it too. So if you planted a seed of hope, or you planted a seed of love, or a seed of sovereignty, a seed of compassion, a seed of calm and peace, a seed of forgiveness in that other person, and someone else comes into their awareness, whether physical or thought field or emotional field, or a place. Remember, inanimate things can receive residual energy that from other people. If others come into that person's life and they show the same capacity, they are adding nurturing to that seed that you have planted in their life. Same thing with the seeds that are less than appreciative. If you are planting seeds of judgment, if you are planting seeds of biasness, of opinions, if you're planting seeds of limited beliefs or scarcity or lack thereof, or giving the seed of belief that we're not abundant, or that we aren't healthy, or that money is too tight, we can't afford that, that limiting belief becomes part of their soil, the seed in their soil. And if someone else comes, or another experience comes in their field that is equivalent to that, it's going to nurture that, and they're going to continue to experience more of those experiences because that's what they hold within them. So because you have the free will to choose how you react or how you respond to that which you experience, whether it's through people, places, or things, you have the ownership and responsibility for planting those seeds. And other people can come and try to rip out that good nature of seeds, but when you build a solid foundation of good naturing seeds, and they grow and grow and grow, it doesn't matter how many times they try to snip that plant's going to keep growing with more nurturing and more nurturing and more nurturing. Okay? But let's do some shadow work. And if you need a guidance, or you need assistance of where to start or how to get started, by all means, either hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on the phone. You can jump over to the YouTube channel that we have going on. You can connect me through Messenger. You can email me. If you feel like you have a lot that you want to express and you don't feel like Messenger is a lengthy place to express, I want you to express what you are feeling, what you are thinking, what you might be experiencing physiologically. I don't want you to tell me the details of what a doctor has said to you or a therapist has said to you that something is. I don't want those details in my mind, so that my mind stays clear about what service to help you with. Okay? That's not to say I don't care what judgment, and that's what it is, a doctor rendering judgment and you accepting it because they're in a state of authority and you are trusting that they are going to give you their best advice. But again, it's a practice. Yes, you are their guinea pig. They will not tell you that. They will not say that you are test subject, sada, sada, sada. But that's what it is. Doctors don't have a cure for the thing that you have experienced and you sent a label of attachment to. That's self-work. They can provide you remedies for the symptoms, and I can provide you holistic remedies for the symptoms, but ultimately you have to work through it to release it and become greater, healthier, okay? And you might experience more than you are expecting. Remember, remain open and don't expect, but appreciate that what comes, because it's going to bring out something of you that requires a little bit of work, okay? So when it comes out, you're not being in reactive mode. You're being in calm, objective, higher mind mode, okay? Neutrality, calm, neutrality. To work through it. Excuse me. But maybe you need a little guidance on this. And it's okay if it's like, if you get what you need in this video, or if you feel like you want to branch in it. Each one of these videos only touches on an aspect of each thing. The actual in-depth part is through coaching, is through an actual class of coaching. But I do like to highlight so that you are well informed of what you may encounter and experience. And when you do shadow work, it's probably going to release quite a bit of emotions. Love on yourself. Let those who are around you aware that you are working on yourself in a loving capacity, that you may display emotions, mannerisms, facial expressions, thoughts, physiological signs, so that they can help you through it. If you have a meaningful connection in your relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship, a friendship, a work colleague, school friends, a social circle that you might be around, if they're helping you and aiding to your cause to get yourself well, keep them around. Let them help you. There's a reason why it's not just one person living on this world, because we are meant to engage and interact with each other. We are meant to help one another climb up from that darkness. And once we pierce through that darkness, our light shines ever brighter. And I'm telling you, there's some really, really bright shining bodies out there. And you probably won't even respect that I have said that, because you might have a block on it or a limited belief on it. But I'm telling you, when you work through your stuff, your spiritual aspect that you were already before you incarnated as a body comes forward, and it takes a front seat. It's not to be worrisome of. It's not to be fearful of. It's your core essence loving on you. And it's appreciating that you are taking the effort to resolve the internal conflict that has been waging war within you. Okay? We might see a waging war out there, but really it's a reflection of the waging war within us. When we resolve the war and conflict that is within us, the outside world reflects the same. Okay? Ego, we're shutting down ego. Even if ego comes in and says that, well, this experience did this, so you're not going to... Ego likes pattern. Ego doesn't like change in pattern. It's that discomforting of change in pattern that you break through the plateau that you've been hitting and you soar higher. Okay? Let's work through some of those things. Let's work through some of the childhood traumas that you've experienced. Again, I am not a licensed therapist, so I'm not going to give you that type of therapy, but I will give you a lending ear, and I don't need a license for that. I will give you my time. I don't need a license to give you my time. That is my gift, okay? But maybe you want to see a therapist. Maybe a therapist will help bring out to your forefront some of the things that you are enduring, and you feel like you've been having to do it alone, because the experiences that have been coming in from a reflection of what's already within you have been compounding and reinforcing, and you don't know how to sift through and work through. Maybe it's time to cultivate that soil. Maybe it's time to re-break up the soil, let good oxygen to come in, so we can experience, express, and release in a loving, conducive manner. Let me know. I'll be happy to assist you in any way that I can. I do have a great amount of knowledge, and if I don't know something very, very intimately, I'm going to go do my due diligence, and I'm going to research it from a non-biased view. That's right. So it's going to come to you without any strings attached. It's going to come to you without you having to be in a specific belief circle or religious organization. It has nothing to do with New Age. It has nothing to do with occultists. It has nothing to do with hell and fury, and has nothing to do with any other aspect, but you taking the responsibility and ownership to make yourself well. Because everything you've probably been experiencing hasn't been working, which is completely fine. Remember, I said that sometimes you will experience something in your life that's not serving you well. Maybe that's what that is. Or maybe it's because you're perceiving it from a different subjective view rather than an objective and discerning view of how it can attribute to you. Remember, everything out there that you have learned is a foundation to build up from. And some of that misinformation might have to fall away to bring your greater nature up to the surface. But connect with me. It doesn't matter what time of day. If for some reason I am unresponsive because I might be asleep or something, I promise you I will get back to you. And then I will set up a better time to be receptive to your call or your message, and help you through it. All right? Because my greatest compassion and my greatest love that I am pouring out is to see you become well. That's my purpose, is to make myself completely well and to provide the tools and resources to help you become greater well. And then discover your true purpose. Discover the purpose that you want to do in life. And it's in the darkness, the trials, the circumstances that you actually discover your purpose. Your purpose came with you already. You just forgot. It's completely okay. We all end up forgetting, with a few select persons that actually have, that actually were able to put up a significant block of conditioning, or from being conditioned to where they stayed tapped into, or they may have created a pseudo identity to protect that which they found more valuable. Okay? But connect. Today I have my dad bod shirt on, and it's alright if you have a dad bod. It's alright if you are working on your body. And it's alright if you have a mom bod. But remember, what you connect to that and what attachments you put to it will determine how your physical body will be responded to you. You can think yourself strong, you can think yourself healthy, you can think yourself fit, and your body will respond because your mind in your heart is in coherence and your body has to. That's right. It doesn't have a say of not doing so. When you think it and you feel it, your body has to respond in kind. That's the trifecta. All right, trifecta. Sorry. The fourth one is your spirit body. So you have more than enough bodies to assist you in living your best life. Stop living your life for the pleasure of others that don't want to see you succeed. I celebrate if you succeed, okay? If something I can provide, even if it's like a 20-minute format, and you soar in succeeding and living your best life, I'm going to celebrate you. I'm going to celebrate the work you have gone through to achieve that, all right? I'm not going to put you down. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to see you as a competition, because we're not in competition with one another. We're in concert to make one another bring their greater potential to the surface. Okay? I love you. Be well. Be well. Be well.